Welcome back to Left Coast News. Tonight's episode is one you need to pay attention to because while Olympia is talking about equity, climate, and public health, what they're actually doing is pushing 10 separate bills that raise taxes or increase costs on Washington families. Not one, not two, 10.
And what's important here is the pattern. Different industries, different excuses, same results, higher costs, higher taxes, less constitutional restraint. So tonight we're walking you through all 10 bills, one by one.
Thanks for tuning in to leftcoastnews.net. News and information from the wacky, sometimes communist, liberal west coast of the United States. For more, visit leftcoastnews.net. HB2297, the grocery store tax preferences. HB2297 sounds harmless at first. It allows cities to create preferential business taxes and property tax breaks for grocery stores in underserved areas. Here's the problem. When government gives someone a tax break, they don't cut spending to compensate. They raise taxes somewhere else. So if a grocery store gets relief inside a special zone, guess who makes up the difference? Small businesses outside the zone, property owners, renters, consumers. This is not tax relief, this is tax shifting, and tax shifting always lands on working families.
Bill 2, House Bill 2382, Cigarette and Vape Tax Hikes. House Bill 2382 raises cigarette taxes by $2 per pack. It restructures vape taxes to 95% of the sales price. It increases cigar taxes. This is one of the biggest sin taxes expansions we've seen. And these taxes are regressive. They hit low-income residents the hardest. They push sales across state lines. They increase black market activity. And when revenue falls short, because sin taxes always fall short, Olympia comes back for more. This isn't about health. It's about plugging budget holes.
Bill number 3, HB 2451, the tax increment financing. HB 2451 expands tax increment financing districts. That means cities can capture future property tax growth from certain areas to fund projects. Sounds technical. Here's what it means in plain English. If property values rise in that district, instead of that new tax revenue going to schools, fire, EMS, and shared services, it gets diverted to special projects. So when those services lose funding, guess what happens? Taxes go up elsewhere. It's a shell game with property tax.
Bill 4, House Bill 2332, Alternative Jet Fuel Mandate. Now, let's talk about this House Bill 2332. This one requires alternative jet fuel usage. And this comes right after a state report shows Washington carbon tax only reduced emissions by 14%. 14%. So instead of reassessing a policy that raised fuel prices and only delivered very limited results, Olympia doubles down. Alternative jet fuels are more expensive, limited in supply, dependent on heavy subsidy. So what happens? Jet fuel prices rise. Airlines raise ticket prices. Routes get cut. Operations move to other states. Airlines don't absorb costs. They relocate or restructure. This bill risks pushing aviation jobs and revenue out of Washington for minimal climate benefit.
HB 2236 modifies the Housing Finance Commission, authorizes the Washington State Housing Finance Commission to make loans and mortgage loans, but not loans or mortgage loans for owner-occupied residential home purchases or refinancing, except for certain down payment assistance loans. It removes certain oversight mechanisms and expands bonding flexibility. Bonding equals debt. Debt equals repayment. And repayment equals higher fees, housing costs, and long-term financial exposure for taxpayers. When oversight is reduced and borrowing increases, taxpayers eventually foot the bill. This is housing policy turning into tax policy.
Bill 6, House Bill 1960, Renewable Energy Excise Taxes. The bill aims to promote renewable energy generation by restructuring how these facilities are taxed, shifting from traditional property taxes to the excise tax model. House Bill 1960 replaces property tax exemptions with new renewable energy excise taxes. The state calls it revenue neutral. It never is. Those excise taxes get passed straight into utility rates, rent, business operating costs. Washington already has some of the highest energy costs in the region. This bill stacks more costs onto the system. You don't tax production without raising prices.
Bill 7, HB 2720, the Covered Lives Health Insurance Assessment. HB 2720 creates a per member per month assessment on health plans. Starts at 58 cents and increases with inflation. They call it an assessment. It's a tax. Insurance companies don't eat that cost. Employers don't eat that cost. You see it in higher premiums and deductibles. It's hidden taxation through your health insurance bill.
Bill 8, House Bill 2734, Statewide Sugar Tax. House Bill 2734 creates a statewide sugar sweetened beverage tax. We already saw this experiment in Seattle. Higher grocery bills, minimum measurable health improvement. This is a regressive tax on families. And once it's statewide, it becomes permanent revenue. Sin taxes are easy politically. They're hard economically.
Bill number 9, Senate Bill 6347, the Millionaires Tax or Backdoor Income Tax. Now we get to Senate Bill 6347. This is being framed as an estate tax adjustment, but in reality, this functions as a tax on accumulated lifetime income. And that matters because the Washington State Constitution prohibits income taxes. Washington courts have historically ruled that income tax is property, and property taxes must be uniform. This graduated estate tax structure targets accumulated earnings, which were already taxed, and taxes them again at death. That's income taxation by another name. But here's the bigger picture. When you heavily tax estates, family farms get sold, small businesses are liquidated, generational businesses leave the state, capital leaves, jobs leave, revenue shrinks. And when revenue shrinks, Olympia looks for new targets. People say other states have income tax, yes, and most of these states do not stack high sales tax, carbon tax, excise taxes, fuel taxes, special assessments. You think Olympia is going to remove those if they normalize income taxation? No. It would sit on top of everything else. This bill tests the constitutional firewall. If it holds, great. If it doesn't, the door opens. And once that door opens, it never closes.
Bill 10, Senate Bill 5650, Local Cannabis Excise Tax. Senate Bill 5650 allows cities and counties to add local excise taxes on cannabis on top of the existing 37% state tax. That's double taxation layered onto an already heavily taxed product. When legal markets become too expensive, black markets grow. Revenue projections fail, and lawmakers say, we need more. The cycle continues.
When you step back and look at these 10 bills together, the pattern is obvious. Different policy labels, same result. Higher costs and higher taxes.
This isn't about equity. It isn't about climate. It isn't about fairness. It's about Olympia expanding government and sending you the invoice.
If you don't pay attention to this now, this won't be the last 10. It'll be the first 10. This is Left Coast News. Stay informed, stay involved, and hold them accountable. If you liked what you heard, please like, share, and follow. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.